The year was 1991 and Bruce Willis was on top of the world, having just finished his run on the popular TV show Moonlighting and making sequels for Die Hard and Look Who's Talking. It seemed like everything John McClane touched was destined to be a hit. Then Hudson Hawk happened. This totally awkward action-adventure film begins in 1481. Yes, 1481, with Leonardo da Vinci creating a device that can turn ordinary loser metal into pure gold. Jump forward to now and we see Willis in the titular role as Hudson Hawk getting out of a long stint in prison after getting set up during a heist. His buddy, Tommy Fivetone, played by Danny Aiello, picks him up and quickly greets him by making a Nintendo reference.
Broadway takes, seduce some women, play Nintendo, bone some chicks. What's Nintendo?
Mamma mia!
After reaching his beloved bar, all Hudson wants to do is relax and drink a cappuccino, but a couple of gangsters known as the Mario Brothers have something else in mind. They want Hudson to steal a priceless horse statue created by Da Vinci, but being the badass that he is, he tells them to slurp his butt.
Slurp my butt.
Hudson and Tommy reluctantly agree to pull the job, and since Hudson Hawk is too good for watches, he keeps time by singing a song, effectively turning the sequence into a slightly painful musical number.
If that sort of life is what you wish, you may grow up to be a fish. Or would you like to swing on a star?
After handing the horse over to the Mario Brothers, Hudson discovers that it wasn't the horse itself a wealthy third party wanted, but the piece of metal hidden inside. This is the first of three pieces that, when combined, create Da Vinci's gold machine.
Where's my cut?
The next morning's paper reads that the horse was almost stolen, so Hudson heads to the museum to see what's up, where he meets Andy McDowell, the love interest, and we're also introduced to the Candy Bar Gang, each named after a candy bar for some reason, and the Mayflowers, a wealthy couple who turns out to be behind all of this craziness.
Don't hate me, baby.
It's at this point that you can tell that Bruce Willis is filled with regret in doing this picture. After an explosion kills everyone at the auction, Hudson meets up with the Candy Bar Gang, who turn out to be crooked CIA agents, who tell him he's going to steal the other two pieces of the Da Vinci medal, or they'll kill him. Then they throw him into a box and ship him to Rome. From here, things get more offensively bad, with lots of hijinks, David Caruso in a dress, and this gem of a line.
What's going on in there?
You want me to rape him?
How can Hudson get himself out of this pickle? Well, go watch Hudson Hawk and find out. Or don't. Hudson Hawk was an utter failure at the box office, making just over $17 million domestically, with a budget of $70 million. It was also panned by critics, and it's easy to see why. So, how did the video game iterations compare? Let's take a look. Here's Hudson Hawk for the Nintendo Entertainment System. You play a disproportionately shaped Bruce Willis looking to steal the priceless artifacts featured in the movie. The only weapon you have is a tennis ball, and you'll need to think on your feet to get through this incredibly frustrating puzzle platformer. The first thing you'll notice when playing this game is the controls are absolutely awful, making every jump a chore. After you make your way into this building, you need to avoid various bad guys like this baby on a bicycle, as well as alarms on the floor and on the walls. If you hit the beam of any of these cameras, you'll fry, so avoid those too. If you die, you start at the beginning of the floor, and if you get game over, you'll start all the way at the beginning, so you better be really careful on this one. Truthfully, this first stage is so long and difficult I couldn't make it through, despite spending entirely too long trying. In summation, Hudson Hawk for the Nintendo is bad. It's very bad. The Game Boy version of Hudson Hawk is structured very much like the NES version, but it's not nearly as frustrating. When you die, you start right where you were killed, and when you get game over, you continue at the section you left off at, not the beginning of the level. The layout is pretty much the same, with some changes here and there. You still only have that stupid ball to defend yourself with, and the controls are still painful, but in a different way than the Nintendo version. In this one, you have to hit down on the D-pad 3 times to make Hudson go prone, which is a huge pain when you need to suddenly duck down to avoid a bullet or an alarm. The jumping is also very much slower than in the NES version, which takes some time to get used to. One frustrating encounter I had was this section where you have to flip a switch, turn a fan off, then drop down and run past it before it turns back on. The problem was I died falling down and respawned right where I died with the fan back on. I couldn't jump high enough to get back up to the switch, so my only option was to get game over and kill myself. All in all, I actually like the Game Boy version a little bit better than the NES version. It's a bit more forgiving, and the controls, while still bad, aren't quite as bad. There's also a version of Hudson Hawk for the Amiga, but I don't have a copy of that to show you, but it looks very similar to the NES version, but maybe the graphics look slightly better. And there you have it, a couple of bad games for a laughably bad movie. While I wouldn't recommend playing the game, if you haven't seen the movie, I feel it falls into the so bad it's good category, so I'd say check it out. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more entries in this series. And for all things film, head over to filmpulse.net.
Just shoot her. Anybody? Darwin, this is supposed to be torture, not therapy.